Good morning, everybody. What a fantastic day the 4th of May is, and the banks have opened early. I'm pleased to say I've managed to get an application in and able to help you with this final video, which I might update just once funds are received. So, Bounce Back Loan Scheme, BBLS for short. Support for businesses requiring loans of up to £50,000. Now, I've applied through Bank of Scotland as my first one, which is part of the Lloyds HBOS group. And they state they have high levels of demand already and are doing all they can to help. They also state that they do not currently provide this facility to anybody who is not using the Lloyds HBOS group as their main account. And they're going to prioritize their existing customers first. So thank you for prioritizing your customers. So just a quick reminder of the key features. The Bounce Back Loan Scheme, it's a number of loans set up by the government as a result of COVID-19. The lending facility is capped at £50,000. And if you need more than £50,000, as of today, you have to apply for a CBILS loan, which is £50,001 all the way through and upwards to around 5 million. The scheme is 100% government backed for small businesses. You can apply for between 2,000 and 50,000, subject to a maximum of 25% of your annual turnover. There's no repayments in the first 12 months. And you won't pay any charges if you decide to repay early. And it's a fixed interest rate of 2.5% for the whole term. Now, I completed the application. It's simple, it's easy, it's online. So let's have a look. It's important, if you've already received funding under a CBILS or other government scheme, then your application will be put into a box to be dealt with separately. So it might slow your application down. Your business will remain liable for repayment of the loan. And Lloyds HBOS group are currently reviewing how they might support existing customers who use their personal current account for business purposes. So they're referring to sole traders there. So sole traders, I'm sorry, Lloyds are not helping you if you're not using a business current account for your sole trader business. However, that will happen later in the week. Now, don't forget the British Business Bank has all the information on their website there. And their website is www.britishbusinessbank.co.uk. Illustrative example. Now, if you borrowed £100,000, if your turnover is £100,000, you could borrow £25,000 over 72 months. The first 12 months are 0% interest. The next 60 months have a capital repayment of £416.67. Interest will be charged on that each month at 2.5% fixed. And the total capital and interest repayment will be £469 a month from month 13 onwards. So that the total amount repayable on your £25,000 will be £26,589 over the 6 years. So that's a very generous rate for an unsecured loan. Now, quick reminder to be eligible. Using your Bank of Scotland current account as the main business account was my criteria to be eligible. I had to be UK-based business and I had to require funding as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. Now, there was a little bit of industry eligibility. I'm not eligible if I'm a bank or a building society. How funny, a bank lending to itself. An insurance company, a public sector organisation, or a state school. So that's the exclusions. What you will need now for this application is permission to apply on behalf of all the account holders. So if you're a limited company and there's several directors, you will need to have had a board meeting and approve this with the board. If you're in a partnership, you'll need your business partner's approval. You'll need your company registration number, your business account number and sort code, and your estimated annual turnover. Now, some points to be aware of that they're going to go through on the loan. They're going to remind you there's no fees for the application. So the banks will charge you no fees for applying. They're going to keep you informed about your payment progress during the term. And I think that's only fair. I'd want to know that anyway. If you don't make a payment on time, then that could harm your credit record. And you need to contact them to tell them what you're going to do to remedy that quickly. And if they spot that there's problems, they will intervene and offer you help and assistance and free financial advice. So, actions that you can take if you're in that they're going to take if they think you're in difficulty. They will monitor your repayment record. They will adjust your payments to make sure you hit the term and repay the full capital amount. And if you breach the loan agreement, they'll give you reasonable notice about any action they intend to take. So let's get on to the application form, the key bit. Now, the key features to remember is the loans are between $2,000 and $50,000 up to a maximum of 25% of your annual turnover. The government covers all costs for the first 12 months, so any application fees, interest, or whatever. There's no repayments required for the first 12 months. The interest rate is 2.5%. It's a 6-year fixed rate loan with no early repayment charges, and you remain 100% liable for the debt whilst your business is a going concern. So the first thing I had to do was agree to data collection, not just by the Lloyds HBOS Group and the sharing of that information, but also the sharing of it with the British Business Bank and government agencies. I then had to enter my bank details to validate who I am. Next, I came to the loan details section. Now, the first thing they do, and they repeatedly do this through the process, is they get you to validate that you can apply for the loan, you accept that it's 25% of your turnover in the calendar year 2019 for a minimum of $2,000 and a maximum of $50,000. If your business was established after the 1st of January 2019, you should apply the 25% limit to the estimated turnover from the date you started the business. So this is not running on your financial years. This is 12 months, 1st of January, 31st December. So if your accounting year is, say, the 31st of March, you need to quickly do a recalculation there. So what do they mean by turnover? Well, your annual turnover is calculated on the sales that your business has made. Now, if you're a property investor, they don't actually state whether that's gross rent, net rent, or anything like that. There is a question later on, which I'll cover, that you need to ensure you answer, and you answer correctly and accurately. For businesses which are part of a broader group, you have to state your group's turnover. You have to state how much you want to borrow under the bounce back loan scheme, and you need to confirm that it is equal to or less than 25% of your turnover. Now, the business interruption payment, it's part of the scheme offered by the government, and the purposes of the questions are to define that you're eligible for state aid, and you have to sign later on in the process that you are receiving state aid. So, questions that were asked. Do you want to refinance an existing loan offered under the Coronavirus Business Interruption Loan Scheme, CBILS, or the Coronavirus Large Business Interruption Scheme? Has your business been adversely impacted by COVID-19? Was your business insolvent or financial difficulty on the 31st December 2019? If you don't answer those questions correctly, you will not be able to move on to the next stage. Now, there is a few warnings and a bit of heavyweight stuff that goes on in here where they refer to the EU Regulation 651/2014 about defining a business in difficulty. So you're going to have to wade through a little bit of stuff. They do make it easy by having little check boxes that explode this up. So the declarations you need to make as part of this application: that you were still carrying on business on the 1st of March 2020 and it was engaged in a commercial or trading activity, and that it was also impacted by COVID-19. You confirm that the application for the loan under CBILS or the Coronavirus Large Business Interruption Loan Scheme, CBILS, or the corporate financing facility for this, you haven't applied for those, and if you are applying, then you will migrate over this loan on those loans onto this loan. You confirm you're not a bank, an insurance company, a public sector organisation, and then we start getting down to a little bit more detail that I haven't covered earlier. So you confirm at the time of writing you're not under a debt relief order, you're not in a voluntary arrangement at this moment in time, so they're checking 31st December and now. You're not an undischarged bankrupt, you're not in a voluntary arrangement with your creditors, you're not preparing for liquidation, that your business is incorporated in the UK, that you're tax resident, and you also then confirm that the business was not in difficulty again on the 31st December, and that if you're successful, that you haven't received more than £711,200 in state aid since the 19th of March 2019. Sorry, take a breath. And if your business was in difficulty on the 31st December 2019, that you haven't received more than £177,800 in de minimis state aid. So they're going through lots of little nutty checks with you. If the business was in difficulty, that you're not doing any form of export-related activities. Again, if you're a member of a group, the trading and commercial activities of the group account for 50% of your income. You undertake to use the credit granted under the Business Bounce Back Loan, BBLS, to provide economic benefit to your business, providing working capital to invest in your business, and confirm that the loan will be wholly used for business purposes and not for personal purposes. Now, this doesn't apply to charities or further education colleges, but they're effectively going through and checking all of these things. Now, there's also a prohibition of personal guarantees under the Business Bounce Back Loan. So that was a condition of Rishi Sunak giving 100% guarantee from the banks, is there would be no personal guarantees. So your personal assets are safe, and directors of limited companies don't need to put up any guarantees, any PGs. However, if you're a sole trader or a partnership, then you are effectively giving a personal guarantee and your assets are at risk. Now, you understand that the loan is going to be made under the consumer protections if you're doing it as a sole trader or as a partnership, and that you'll basically be subject to the Financial Services and Markets Act 2000 and the Consumer Credit Act 1974. And you have to basically agree yes, no to that as well. So if you're in any doubt, you obviously answer no. If you answer no, you won't secure the loan. So look up these acts. There's hyperlinks for you to click and it makes it easy for you to understand. You acknowledge that the lender's not responsible for informing you about consequences from applying for this, and you must seek your own independent financial and legal advice. Now, I'm not providing that. I'm sharing with you my experience and the facts of the matter as are presented to me in various government documents and the bank documents. It is entirely up to you if you apply or not. Now, you also recognise that in providing false information on this, you're liable to a criminal prosecution, and it's will be prosecuted under the Fraud Act of 2006. So make sure you answer every question correctly. The last thing you want is to be sued and have the money taken back from you, but also run the risk of either a large fine or imprisonment. I confirm then that the information is complete and accurate. It runs through and goes, ignoring any temporary cessation of COVID-19, the bounce back loan will help me survive and trade, and I'm not subject to state aid outside of what's already been declared, and that the rates are 2.5%. And then I have to tick a box to say I agree with my name and today's date. After I've clicked that box, a facility letter pops up to screen. The facility letter basically confirms the details of it, and you then have to tick the box to say that you accept the terms that are offered in that facility letter. Now, the facility letter is just repeating all the yes/no questions with your answers and your name and the date at the bottom. On accepting that, you then come through to a thank you for submitting your application. We'll now review it and we'll email you the loan agreement. We'll encourage you to read all the sections and print and save it for your records. Subject to final internal checks, the bank are going to process the application and deposit the funds in the account. So it was a relatively quick process, probably took 5 minutes to go through, and it was 5 minutes because I understood quite a few of the acts, but I did pop the pop-up boxes just to check that there was no material changes to what my memory is. And I wish you all the very best. Please drop a comment below as to what your experience is and which bank you've applied for. And I look forward to supporting and helping you through this process. All the best. I'm Andrew Roberts from the Great Property Meet, and it's been a pleasure supporting you in this process.